Our study this afternoon is going to be of life, suffering, and eternal horizon. What we go through in this life, the suffering that we must meet with as long as we are in this life. And our verse, supporting verse, is going to be James chapter 1:12, which says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for whether he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him." Kiswahili:
heri mtu astahimilie majaribu, kwa sababu akiisha kukubaliwa ataipokea taji ya uzima Bwana aliyowahidia wampendao.
Yes. This verse is going to drive us onto the suffering and the comfort of suffering. The comfort of suffering, and let's say comfort in suffering. In this one, we are going to see that, or we are going to know that, though your life be evil with the troubles, yet it is short. A few steps and you are out of the rain. And we are going to see that there is a great difference between the saint in the evil he meets with and the wicked, as between two travelers riding contrary ways, both taken in the rain and wet. That is the life, the suffering of a Christian and the suffering of the wicked. So the saint meet the troubles as well as the wicked, but he is soon out of the shower. That's the saint. When death comes, he has fair weather. But the wicked, the farther he goes, the worse. What he meets with here is but a few drops. The great storm is the last. So the pouring out of God's wrath shall be in hell, where all the deeps of horror are open, and both above and both from above of God's righteous fury, and from beneath of their own accusing and tormenting conscience. So those are the things that we are going to look at, so that we can understand, or we can see, we can have comfort in suffering. So here we can see that in Christian mystical tradition, consolation is a form of shared grace. When one suffers, another can remind it of the eternal horizon, the imperishable truth beyond the temporal affliction. That's all what we do. We console one another. That is in our Christian traditions. We know that suffering are just for the moment. So we are never taken by suffering like the wicked, or we should never be taken as the wicked are taken when they suffer. Though your life be evil with trouble, yes, it is short. One thing, life trials are acknowledged as real and painful. Evil with troubles. Nobody should lie that when we are being afflicted, that we don't feel it. We feel it. Mwanga tunasikia. But together with our feeling, there is a temporal perspective that this trial are transient, passing, and ultimately limited. Hiyo ni kitu ambayo tunatakiwa yani kuwa tunajua. So when we are suffering, it's as if we are being beaten by rain. That is, rain represent here temporal suffering, because nobody likes to be beaten by rain, and rain cannot destroy you. So our suffering is just a temporal, it's about the rain falling on us. And when we understand this, we became patient in our suffering. So when we say there is a great difference between the saint and the evil, he meet with the wicked, this one we emphasize the direction of our life, not merely its hardship. Because here, when we say the saint and the wicked, one thing, even when a saint is suffering, he is oriented toward union with God. So even misfortune moves him toward spiritual gain, which means a saint, whether he is suffering, he is oriented toward union with God. That is his target. So we should not fail or leave our target, no matter how much we are afflicted in this world. But the wicked, lacking moral and spiritual orientation, moves deeper into chaos. That's the wicked. The wicked person is the man who has not recognized that which is good. His will is not after good. His will is after false good. And the more he is after that false good, and through that false good, there is suffering. That suffering of a wicked person moves him deeper into chaos. Because I want you to give you an example. When a wicked person is suffering, as we learned in the morning, he is very furious with the surrounding, with other people. Every person is his enemy. He feels that he is offended by each and every one. And in order to put him in comfort, or to have the right competition in the society where everyone is an enemy, he is going to use force. He is going to use means, his own means, to help and to give him honor, comfort, and whatever. And mostly, he might even end up stealing, wounding others, and even killing, rendering that person into a more deeper chaos through his suffering. But a saint is different. He knows that suffering are just for a moment. So here you will see that both for the saint and the wicked, life's challenges are a testing current. They are testing current. The same wave that lifts a saint toward God sinks the wicked into despair. So here, the difference is inner orientation. Hiyo ndio tofauti. To the wicked, for those who doesn't know God. And when you say those who doesn't know God, you might be, not everybody who says Lord, Lord will see the kingdom of heaven. We have many Christians who call them Christians, and yet they are not Christians, they are wicked. Only they have just been nicknamed Christian because of they think they are, but they are not. So you'll find that, especially in this generation, you'll see that those who call themselves Christian, they are desperately in need of this worldly good. They are corrupt. They can do all sorts of things. Those we don't consider them as Christians, they are not Christian. They are just Christian by name, not by heart. their heart is very far from God. So when we say a saint is somebody who is born again in Christ Jesus. His orientation is toward that good, that which is good, that is God. His will, and he is trying that his will and the will of God, they should go in tandem. But the other person, his will must work. He wants to be rich in this world. So his suffering is different from the other one. So both taken in the rain and wet, but one ride from the rain. You see, both are taken in the rain. And this rain went to them. But what's the difference? One ride from the rain, and so is soon out of the shower. One ride from the rain. One is riding, this is the rain. And these people, all of them are inside that rain. One is riding from the rain. You want to go out. Sasawa. And the other one won't ride in this rain. He doesn't want to go out. That means he is going to be more dread. One is going from the rain, and one wants to remain in that rain. So the further he goes, the worse it is, because he doesn't want to come out of the rain. Because this suffering, look here, suffering, why is he suffering? The wicked is suffering, and the saints are suffering. The saint is suffering because he wants to go out, and he is toward that which is good. So why is the other wicked person suffering? He is not after good. He is after a good which is not good, which is evil. Evil good. The good of this world. So the more he hungers for this good, which he calls them good and not good, the more he entangles himself. So he is not coming out of the rain. He is going to remain there. Sasawa. So both faces external conditions, yet one moves toward relief and one moves toward intensification. You can see there are two people in this world. One moves toward relief. He's going out and to be relieved of this suffering. And one moves toward intensification. He is intensifying affliction. Why? Because he is intensifying affliction because at the end, if he is not going towards good, his affliction is going to be intensified, because even by the time he's going to go out of this world, he'll face eternal death. That which he has started here, that is what he call affliction, because that affliction is not taking him out of the rain. It is bringing him deeper in that rain. Then it is going to intensify his life of affliction. That is one thing that we should understand. So suffering itself is not intrinsically evil. Its quality depends on the soul's relation to it. That's what I want to see. That is the philosophical nature of suffering. Suffering itself is not intrinsically evil. Its quality depends on the soul's relation to it. That's why we say, as long as we're in this world, we cannot say that we are not going to suffer. We are going to suffer. Just the way the wicked is going to suffer, even the righteous is going to suffer. But the difference here is that this suffering, though it looks equal, but intrinsically it is not equal. Because this suffering will depend what? The soul's relation to it. the soul relation to that suffering. Why am I suffering? What is the relationship between my suffering? What is the relation between my suffering? If I'm a saint, I need to understand why the suffering come. What about the wicked? So his suffering is related unto his soul or his life in this world. That is what it makes evil. Evil here is not, and we cannot say it is intrinsically evil. That means that it is something which is inborn, or what, or that you can, that it is permanently there. It depends on how we take that evil. The saint troubles are redemptive. I want you to get that. The saint troubles are redemptive. The wicked are damning. You can see the difference. The saint trouble are redemptive. You know, when a saint is suffering in this world, that suffering is supposed to be redemptive. It is for redemption. He is being redeemed. But the wicked is being damned. That suffering is damning him. So, conscious reflection transforms suffering from punishment into pedagogy. Conscious reflections transform suffering from punishment to pedagogy. Meaning, as a Christian, I should know, yes, I'm going through trial. I'm suffering. And so is each and every person that is in this world at that time. We are all going, like now. When we say the economy is bad, no one who is not suffering, whether you are Christian, whether you are the wicked, all of us, we are going the same problem. We are undergoing the same problem. And if we call them suffering, we are also suffering together. But there's a difference between these two. That one who is a Christian, this punishment that you are calling punishment is a pedagogue, is a master. He is taking you home. But to the other person is a punishment. And that's why we are told we should not cry with other people when they are crying of the hardship that they are going through in this world. Yes, we can cry or we can complain these things with our fellow Christian, but not the people of this world. Because what they look at suffering or how they see it is not the way you are supposed to see it. So you should not cry as they cry. Because sometimes they don't understand, but you understand where you are going. You are going the way you are going. So the saint meet with the troubles as well as the wicked, but he is soon out of the shower. When deaths come, he has fair weather. Meaning, no matter what you go through as a saint, the end you will be out of it because you are being taken home by the same suffering. Are we together? Yeah. Yes. Suffering to a Christian or to a saint becomes a passageway to divine peace, the fair weather. That is the soul participation in divine light beyond temporal disturbance. That is how we should look at it as Christian. But the wicked, the further he goes, the worse. What he meets with here is but a few drops. The great storm is the last. Anagojea, the great storm. So the wicked temporal affliction is a shadow of eternal torment. Earthly suffering is minor compared to what awaits. This man, the happy are the Christian who should understand this thing, because it is going to give us comfort. And that's why our topic is comfort in suffering. Comfort in suffering. You know, when we come to the wicked, our suffering in this world is taking us out of suffering. But for the wicked, his suffering is getting him even deeper in suffering. Because with him, his suffering in this world his suffering has just started. It has just started. Only he has a comfort. He has comfort of this world, which he thinks he is out of suffering, but he has a temporal comfort, the wealth of this world, the things of this world, and if he thinks that he is out of suffering, but his suffering is going to take him to a deeper, more suffering. So the temporal affliction is a shadow of eternal torment. Earthly suffering is minor compared to what awaits. The soul oriented away from God descend into ever-deepening spiritual storm. The soul oriented away from God descend into ever-deepening spiritual storm. That's what we should know. Sasa. So, the end of our suffering here is death. And this death reveals the true meaning of suffering. Union with God for the righteous. Torment for the misaligned. So you can see both paths. One is taking his union with God, and it was a suffering in this world. Another one is torment for misaligned. So temporal misfortune is minor compared to eternal consequence for those who reject God. Eternal torment arises from both divine justice and soul's self-awareness. Salvation is inner alignment. So you can see these two people, one is seeking inner alignment with God. Another one is seeking misalignment with God. We are in this world, and both of us, we are walking in this world. But there is one who is seeking inner alignment, the other one is seeking misalignment. Why? Because even when he is not suffering because he is seeking that which is good. He is suffering, seeking the shadow of this world. So his suffering has no gain as far as he is concerned in this world. His suffering doesn't have any gain as far as he is concerned in this world. Let us look at the mystical dialogue and compare the soul and the spirit, the storm and the comfort of suffering through a mystical diagram. Maybe dialogue. Maybe we can understand what I've been telling you. One, the soul or man asks, "O spirit, my days are heavy with rain. Troubles pour upon me, and my heart is weary. Why must life be so filled with sorrow?" That's a man asking. Trouble pour upon me, and my heart is weary. Why must life be so filled with sorrow? Meaning, in this world of time, you will find that men are filled with sorrow. Hardly can we be happy throughout the day. We have so many questions that come within our mind. Fear of unknown. We don't even know what tomorrow will be. It is even troubling us today. But the Spirit of God says, "Dear soul, see the rain not as a punishment, but as a messenger of fleetingness. Though your steps are wet, the road is short. A few measures, and you shall be out of the storm. Meaning, here, we might be suffering, yes, and even in this life, maybe after some time, maybe we enter to a form of comfort. But here the Spirit is talking of our life in this world. There is no one time we can say that we are comfort. We have comfort in this world. But he's telling us very soon we shall be out of these afflictions or this suffering. Meaning, we might even stay in this life and end up dying in a condition whereby when you look at the things of this world in time, there's no one time we have had that which you call comfort when you look with the external eye. But the Spirit of God is telling us we should not worry. So long as our suffering is, at the end of our suffering, we shall be out of suffering forever. Because the end of suffering you have seen is death. And death here is a separation. Either is death and you join, or you join with God, or death and you join with hell. So that's why he says, a few measures and you shall be out of the storm. Then man asked, yet I am surrounded by the wicked. Are they too endure hardship? How am I different? That's a Christian, that's a saint now. How am I different? Because we are suffering, I'm surrounded with the wicked, and they are suffering just like me. How am I different? Then the Spirit of God says, so here lies the mysteries. Both traveler and sinner meet the rain, but their paths diverge. The saint rides from the storm, guided toward light. The wicked rides deeper into the deluge. The same drops fall, yet the journey's meaning differs. So you can see, he is explaining about this journey, about these two people. Meaning, as long as we're in this world, we should know that, well, even if we see others suffering as we are suffering, we should know that there is a difference. There is a difference. And we are not supposed to mourn as they mourn. We should have comfort in our mourning, in our suffering. Then the soul says, does this mean that suffering itself is not evil? Then the Spirit of God says, precisely, the rain that cleanses the soul is a ladder to higher realms. You can see. So he is telling him, yes, the rain, the suffering is not evil. And this suffering is the rain. The rain that cleanses the soul is a ladder to higher realms. The cloud that burdens the heart of the wicked becomes their prison, for they walk into the storm. You see, you are being, the rain is raining upon you, but you are being cleansed. That's a saint. But when you come to the wicked, the cloud that burdens the heart of the heart of the wicked becomes their prison, for they walk into the storm. Meaning, the wicked person, so long as he doesn't understand, he's a blind wanderer in this world. He's suffering. What he's suffering, when he is crying because of the shadows of this world. And this suffering to him, because it's a punishment, it is taking deeper into the storm. It's taking deeper into the storm. Then the soul asks, and what of death, spirit? Does it add the pain? Spirit. The Spirit of God says, for the faithful, death is fair weather. Kwa wale wanaamini, death is fair weather. The storms dissipate. The storm inaondoka. The journeys end in light. The trials you meet are brief. They teach, purify, and guide. But for the ungodly, the storms only grows. The few drops of this life are a mere foretaste of the eternal storm that awaits. That's the difference between these two people. Then the man asked, or the soul, eternal storm, spirit, what is this torment? The Spirit of God says, listen, soul. In hell, all deeps of horror are opened. From above comes the righteous fury of God. From beneath, the accusing conscience of the souls itself. There, the wicked experience both external justice and internal self-condemnation. Yet for the saint, conscience is calm, and heaven is mercy revealed. So you can imagine how hell will be. You shall never have internal peace. But for the saint, conscience is calm. Then the soul asks, how then shall I walk, spirit, through life's rain? Sasa nauliza, nitatembea namna gani in this world? How then shall I walk, spirit, through life's rain? Then the Spirit of God tell him, walk with patience, guided by hope. Turn your gaze toward the light eternal. Nasikia, turn your gaze toward the light eternal. Troubles are teachers, not masters. The few drops today are lessons. Yani ukigongwa kidogo, yale unapitia a lesson. Tomorrow is the horizon. Ride from the storm, so, and each step bring you nearer to fair weather. The fair weather here is the heaven. Then the soul says, I see now, spirit, the storm has meaning, and death shall reveal the truth of all paths. I shall trust and endure until the rain passes and the sun shines upon me. Then the Spirit of God says, yes, so comfort others with this word, for they too are travelers in the rain. Remind them, life is short, the storm shall end, and only the path toward God leads this eternal horizon. So you can see all these things, how we go in this world, two travelers beaten together, but one is going to heaven and the other one is going to hell. So when we come to a verse, that's why James says, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. You can see the raindrop upon the traveler symbolizes trial that purifies the soul's faculties. When you read Matthew 7:13-14, it says, enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road broad that leads to destruction. These are the two travelers, because here you can see Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road broad that leads to destruction. And those who enter through it are many. But the gate is narrow and the road is hard that leads to life. And those who find it are few. That's what we are saying here, that suffering is neutral in itself. Its meaning depends on the inner orientation. When you come to Revelation 21, he'll say, he will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore. When you come to Romans 2:5-6 inasema, but because of your hard and impenitent heart, you are storing up wrath for yourself on the day of wrath, when God's righteous judgment will be revealed. He will render to each one according to his deed. So those are verses that are showing us the right path of a Christian, because he has a destiny, because he's going to heaven. So when we want to know the path of the righteous, we can see it in Proverbs chapter 4, 8-19. Chapter 4, 8-19. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. But the way of the wicked is like deeper darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble. Kiswahili?
Kiswahili nasema, bali njia ya wenye haki ni kama nuru ing'aayo, ikizidi kung'aa hata mchana mkamilifu. Njia ya waovu ni kama giza, hawajui ni kitu gani kiwakwazacho.
That is it. So you can see, that's the way we are looking at it. These are two people in this world. The wicked doesn't know why they are suffering. And their suffering becomes a deep darkness. It brings them deeper and deeper into darkness. Sasawa. Let us see the spiritual dialogue. As far as we have seen the mystical dialogue, let us see the spiritual dialogue. What does it say? O Spirit, my heart is heavy with the rain of life. Troubles pour without end. And I fear I shall drown in sorrow. The Spirit of God tell him, dear soul, behold the rain as a messenger, not a foe. Though each drop may chill you, the storm is brief and the road short. A few steps and the skies will clear. The horizon of God's await. The soul ask, yet I see wicked also walking through the storms. How am I to know that my suffering is different from theirs? Observe closely. Both endure the rain, yet their paths diverge. The saint ride from the downpour, moving toward light. The wicked ride into the corner of the storm, deepening the deluge. Trial are neutral, dear soul. It is the inner direction that matters. Then the souls ask, then suffering itself is not evil. Correct. Suffering becomes transformative when the soul is oriented toward God. The same storm purifies the righteous and destroys the wicked, because one walks with faith, the other without insight. The soul and death, shall it bring relief to a greater fear? Spirit, for the faithful, death is fair weather, a passage into light. The storm dissipate, trial reveal their meaning. But for the wicked, death unveils the eternal storm, where divine justice pours from above and conscience tortures from within. So, Spirit, how then shall I endure these trials? Spirit, walk with patience and hope. See each difficulty as a teacher, each sorrow as a mirror of your orientation. Move toward God, so, and the rain becomes your ally, not your tormentor. Then the soul says, I'll strive to see in every drop the hidden purpose, to let trial refine my heart, my thought, and my will. I'll comfort others with the truth, so they too may walk toward the light. Yes, so, the Spirit says, yes, so, remember always the brevity of suffering, the permanence of the horizon, and the truth that the direction of the heart shapes the storm itself. Endure faithfully, and the eternal sun shall rise upon you, revealing mercy, clarity, and unshaken peace of God. So that is how we should see trials in this world. So here we have seen that each and every person in this world must encounter temporal trials. And as Christians, we are supposed to observe the paths of the wicked and the righteous. We should not combine ourselves as in one basket. We must know that this suffering is different. We are going the same way, but there is a difference. We must understand the purpose of suffering. And by understanding the purpose of suffering, we must prepare for death. Because that's our end. No. So, it is not an easy thing, but it helps Christians, those who are truly Christian, it comforts us in our suffering. It gives us our comfort. That hata kana kwamba tunapitia gani, hata kana kwamba tunaramika, tunajua kabisa our suffering is not empty. It has something else in it. I don't think there is another comfort that a Christian should have than that. That your suffering is not a suffering per se. There is something hidden in it. So consolation is a practice of the Spirit in comforting. We align ourselves with God's eternal mercy. Each word of hope is a ripple that transforms darkness into illumination. So I think I've opened that chapter of James, the comfort of suffering. And I think, unless you have a question, I think we should leave it at that, because the only thing you're supposed to ask yourself, turn inward whenever you are in a suffering, whenever you meet within a suffering, whenever something difficult passes in your life. The only thing that we are supposed to ask ourselves, which way is my heart oriented? Toward the divine light or away into darkness? Why do you ask yourself? Because suffering is a mirror of the soul's trajectory. By observing the inner compass, trial becomes instrument of purification rather than torment. I repeat, by observing the inner compass, trials become instrument of purification rather than torment. So, reflect on each trial as transient, imagining yourself stepping from storm to light. Yani, any trial, reflect on each trial as a transient. Offer silent or spoken encouragement to another, imagining your words as spiritual light. In a moment of difficulty at any one time, ask yourself, am I moving toward God or drifting away? Visualize the path clearly. That is for a Christian. And in all our life, we are doing what we call the preparation of death, because that's the end of this life of time. So meditate on death as a fair weather. Let it transform fear into serene anticipation. Usiogope kifo. Ujue kabisa death is a must and it is coming. Death is a must and it is coming. Sasawa? From that point, let us come to the end of that topic. It was not a very long topic, and I think I've driven the point home. Amen?
Amen.